The incumbent governor and candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Ahmadu Fintiri, has been declared winner of the Adamawa State governorship election. Fintiri scored 430,861 votes to defeat the APC's Aishatu Binani. The election had been mired in controversy with a resident electoral commissioner illegally declaring the APC candidate winner before collation was finished. And from the Adamawa State capital, Yola, we're now joined by Honorable Awwal Tukur, Director General, PDP Presidential and Governorship Campaign Council, Adamawa State. Good morning and great to have you on the morning show. Congratulations is the right word to use, and we're glad to see that this has come to an end. But tell us, what is the thought of the incumbent governor and governor-elect? What's his thought, having gone through all the things that has happened over the last 72 hours or so to say?
Good morning, and thank you for having me this morning. First of all, of course, the governor is elated. He's happy that the process has come to a correct conclusion, and he has now been declared. Now, of course, he is now governor-elect, but we must also acknowledge that he is governor now until May 29th, when he becomes governor for his second term. So his thinking, apart from him being a candidate and now governor-elect, as governor, was how to ensure that our state remained one and did not divide the way many people, or some people rather, wanted with what was happening in Adamawa State. So his thoughts were consumed in that period, fighting for his mandate, as well as ensuring governance continues for the good people of Adamawa State.
All right, thank you very much, Honorable Tukur. I'd like to ask you, there have been a number of reports coming in from Adamawa State, and I'd like to get your view on what's happened, or perhaps your assessment of what happened from Saturday, the supplementary elections, to yesterday when the governor, now governor-elect, as you said, who doubles as governor-elect, as you said, was declared winner. What happened with the REC? What happened? That's the resident electoral commissioner. What happened with the returning officer? What happened with the declaration of results before all the collation was done, and what happened with security operatives in Adamawa State?
Thank you very much. Well, even before the elections came, the main elections, we kept hearing stories, people speaking to other people in the other party, that whatever happens, they are going to declare Senator Binani as governor, and if we would like, we should go to court. That was happening, but we took it into cognizance, but we didn't believe such a thing could happen. Now, along the way, we kept raising what you call red herrings. We had a peaceful election, relatively peaceful elections, and after 20 local governments had been collated at that time, suddenly we entered crisis in Fufore local government, which was going on. Collation at that local government was going on peacefully until a group of people came to snatch the result sheet. And, facts are facts. The people that snatched those sheets are known. They've been reported to the police, and they're known sympathizers of the APC. So it wasn't as if we didn't know what happened. That was the beginning of the crisis. Collate Fufore local government and bring it into the state collation became a problem. All sorts of conspiracy theories and noise. And we insisted, collate and bring to the state collation center. Eventually that happened after all that crisis. The narrative was that the PDP was trying to truncate a supposed victory by the APC candidate, which was wrong, which was not correct. And people should not forget, Fufore local government, which was the center of the crisis then, was won by the APC. The PDP did not win that local government, but we insisted on the correct results being brought in. There was talk of, we coerced the collation officer, etc. If we go to the extent of coercing a collation officer, surely we would have made the results to our own benefit. Now, that came to pass. But don't forget also, in that period, a tape came out of a recording by the resident electoral commissioner directing the coalition officer of Fufore to help our opponent. We raised noise about that. We cried about it. We wrote to INEC that, look, in the interest of good governance, you must be seen to be doing what is right. Please recuse your rec. Bring in other people. That wasn't listened to. Now, we went into the, the supplementary elections. Free and fair, no problem. We accepted it. Let's go in. We were ready. We were leading with 31,000 votes. So we were confident in what we knew was on the field. Unfortunately, as the world saw, again in the middle of a coalition process, a rec comes up and actually wrecked the whole process by declaring Senator Binani as the candidate. And with the connivance, if I may use that word, of security personnel sitting next to him, who should have known better, who should have understood that this process needs to conclude before a winner is declared. That was a big disappointment. That raised a lot of tension in the state. But again, at every point, Governor Fintri kept reminding us, please understand, this state cannot, will not, and should not deteriorate into the anarchy we see it coming to. We got very close to their base. The youngsters were there about to run havoc. In fact, they did. Look at what happened. They beat up federal commissioners. I happened to even come across the federal commissioner at the time after he was beaten up. And I was part of the process of even rescuing him from that beating. It was a shame. That was totally uncalled for. And my biggest disappointment as a person was the so-called acceptance speech by Senator Binani. This is someone who has been a House of Representatives member here in this constituency here in Yola. She's a serving senator as we speak. She was part of the Senate that passed the Electoral Act. She's a candidate for a major party for the state governorship. She should have known better. The lady did not do herself justice by going to make an acceptance speech, knowing fully well a process of declaration, a process of collation had not been completed. That to me was the worst and lowest point of this whole thing, because leaders should ensure and show the people of the world, show the youngsters coming up that this politics is not do or die. It is a process that must be respectable, and the players, especially the leaders, especially people like Senator Binani, should have understood that you cannot come up and take advantage of a flawed process. And even more disappointing to me as a person, and I'm sure to many people, she still went ahead to go to court, lending credence to that rumor, as I may call it, that whatever happens, she's going to be declared and we should go to court. Because that is what has been happening in many parts of this country. People fabricate results, people force declarations just to go to court, because the law says as soon as a legitimate person who is supposed to declare does so, the only recourse is to a tribunal and subsequently the courts. So that was their playbook was simple. Do that, what you see happening in council elections or assembly elections and lower down elections, and then force the process to go into the tribunals, delay the entire process for months and months and months while you're in office, and somehow find a way of ensuring that you continue perpetuating the illegality or truncating the mandates of the people. So all in all, we thank God it came to a conclusion. Adamawa State remains peaceful. Thank God we have a governor who understands that. A lot of us who follow him understand that, and we will work to ensure that our state remains peaceful, our people remain united. Of course, now it's a big task for him as governor, for the government of Adamawa State, and all of us around that to ensure that we heal our people. We bring them together, because otherwise the alternative will not be good. But at the same time, those that perpetuated this illegality should be brought to book.
Honorable Tukur, we're trying to manage time. I've listened to you very carefully. But the People's Democratic Party is also calling for the prosecution of the Commissioner of Police in Adamawa. And the argument is that he provided an enabling environment for that scandal that occurred. What other requests is the People's Democratic Party making I'm sure you are also aware that INEC has written to the Secretary to the Government of the Federation that the resident Electoral Commissioner should be sanctioned by the appointing authority, in this case, the President. There are other prayers that the PDP would like to put on the table now that the process has reached this point.
Absolutely. This particular incident should be a case to highlight what happens when things go wrong and how they should be corrected. INEC has started their own process. They have their own internal processes and have taken it, written to those who will be concerned with the criminal aspects of it, the police, etc. That is correct. That should go on. That should ensure it doesn't get swept under the carpet so that we make sure it doesn't happen again and nobody takes it as a precedent. The police, the DSS, whose personnel were also there, should do their own internal process and where necessary now, send it to those responsible for investigating and where those criminal intents. Let's just, for now, for purposes of being fair to those accused, let them have their day to be listened to. And then we, the politicians, must now internalize our own checks and balances. Like I said, as a party, we're going to do our own post-mortem. The APC as a party should do theirs. We should discourage what happened. Senior politicians, again, I would say, like Senator Binani, should be called to order and to book and to explain what happened because the process was too well laid out. Things were happening. Talk of money is flying around are there. So we should also have our own processes. And where there's a clear criminal intent, the person or the persons should be prosecuted, should be brought to book for the interest of our democracy. And the youngsters coming behind to understand that this is not normal. Oh. A normal process is laid out by law. That law should be followed. And where somebody goes wrong, they should be brought to book. So my only appeal, again, is that we also, the politicians, should do ours. The institutions are doing this. Mr. President, we all know the president from long as a person who insists on the rule of law. Age and time has made him a bit weaker that he cannot oversight it the way he used to do before. But I'm sure he himself is embarrassed, was embarrassed by what happened. And he himself should ensure that the process of checks and balances, the process of ensuring legality, the process of ensuring a fair process of democratic elections, and how leaders emerge in this country is imposed. Because if we continue not understanding that these processes affect the leadership we get in this country, we are going down the abyss again. We want a good country to be governed by good people, and we must obey the rule of law.
All right, well, thank you very much, Honorable Awwal Tukur. Before we let you go on a personal note, your father, the Honorable Bamanga Tukur, the former Alhaji Bamanga Tukur, former governor of Yola State, was elected on the platform of the PDP and also PDP chieftain. What's the mood in the Bamanga Tukur household following what's happened in Adamawa State?
Well, I think if you know Alhaji Bamanga Tukur, and I'm sure many of you know him, he's a true Democrat. He was very, very concerned in this process. Believe me, there are times when I had to avoid his calls because I didn't have answers to the questions he was asking. And his question was simple: what is happening? Why is this happening? And is this what is going to happen in Adamawa State? So he was very, very concerned as an elder statesman, not even as a PDP chieftain. He has said it that he's no longer partisan, and which is right. He's an elder in Nigeria. He was concerned for our country. Yes, he wanted his governor to continue as PDP, but he was more concerned that whoever wins in a good process should be allowed to take over. So that was his concern. Even last night, I remember after the declaration we spoke, he was saying, I'm relieved now. At least the process has finished. And I've just seen, just a few minutes ago actually, one of his spokespeople or one of his media people send out a statement, and his appeal was heal Adamawa State. Just about 2-3 minutes ago while we were on, I saw in my computer the statement go out. Wow. So his concern was for more the greater good of the country, the greater good of Adamawa State and the people of Adamawa State.
Well, that's our hope as well, the greater good of Adamawa State and the greater good of the country. Thank you very much for your time this morning.